Hello and welcome. I am Carla Patterson, and I'm so excited to explore with you how to better support English learners in the classroom. We're going to do this today by capitalizing on their assets. Seeing their English learning as a deficit is not the way to go. We want to use and capitalize on their strength in their native language to help build skills to learn the English language. We're going to focus on three areas: culturally responsive teaching, supporting their needs in the classroom, and building home and school connections. In a question and answer format, we are going to address these three topics. First question set: what are cultural influences on teaching and learning, and how can English learners' values and beliefs be integrated into teaching? Culture influences how students learn and process everything. In science, we can connect topics to students' cultural concepts. Culture is the filter through which students learn, to which they react, and to which they commit learning to memory. So, for instance, while teaching ecosystems, I can invite students to share knowledge about plants or animals from their home countries. These connections validate their experiences and make learning relevant. Cultural competence means understanding and respecting students' diverse backgrounds. It is our responsibilities as educators to create lessons that reflect the identities of our students, like introducing students from underrepresented cultures or highlighting contributions from all around the world. What is the role of culture in learning, and how do we create inclusive environments, you ask? As I said, culture shapes everything, including student perspective, and their approach to problem solving is affected by this as well. Inclusive science classrooms are designed to affirm these perspectives. So, for example, using a multilingual word wall, where students see that their language is represented in the content of and context of the class that they are in. Seeing their language and scientific vocabulary help English learners value their home language and open the door for them to feel comfortable with the translation into the English language. So to foster inclusion, establish collaborative norms where all students feel their contributions are valued. Group work in science, such as designing experiments, can help build language and academic skills simultaneously. 3. What are strategies for celebrating diversity and leveraging home languages? To celebrate diversity, we want to integrate cultural traditions into our lessons. For example, during a chemistry unit, you might explore the science of food preservation, techniques like pickling or fermentation used globally. You can invite students to share their home cooking practices or their cultural food practices and connect these to scientific concepts. Leveraging students' home language by allowing them to discuss ideas in their first language before presenting them in English will reinforce this concept and this tool. Graphic organizers and multilingual glossaries are two more tools that we can use in the classroom to help upshore and support English learners. B, how are we going to support the needs of English learners in the classroom? A continuation. And what are strategies to address diverse strengths, needs, and identities? English learners bring a wealth of knowledge and strength to the classroom, and it is essential to recognize that. Using scaffolding techniques like visual aids, step-by-step instructions, and sentence frames for lab reports can certainly help them bridge any English learning gaps between the English language and their native language. Also, pairing English learners with peers that can model the language for them and with them can also enforce that English learning and extend the scientific learning as well. Differentiation is key. For instance, students with special needs might benefit from hands-on activities like creating 3D models of cells or developing models and making models, while advanced English learners can analyze and present data from the real-world environment and using case studies. Meeting social and emotional needs through routines is highly important. English learners thrive in environments that feel safe and predictable. So that means there must be a routine. Consistent routines like starting class with a warm-up question or visual lab instructions reduce anxiety. Recognizing students' efforts with encouragement and celebrating when a student successfully explains a concept will also increase trust, and English learners appreciate that recognition. It boosts confidence, therefore supporting the learning in the classroom. Additionally, incorporating opportunities for students to share their experiences. For instance, I apologize. My recorder stopped. For instance, in a discussion about water scarcity, English learners can draw on their knowledge of water and access to their home countries. And this could look very different from that water availability and experience in the United States. This activity will foster engagement and pride. So finally, how are we going to bridge home and school? What are the connections and activities we can build? First question is, how do family and community practices influence language learning? Parents bring a wealth of knowledge about their child. It's my favorite thing to say during parent conferences. I'm the expert at school, you're the expert at home. Let's get together and create a support for our whole child. So, for example, we can tag on a parent or tag them in so they can let us know about a student's strengths, about their experiences, about their learning styles. They can even let us know about cultural practices, and we can use that information to provide familiarity in the classroom. For example, a student's families who maybe gardens or farms can share insights during a biology unit on ecosystems. Recognizing and incorporating these funds of knowledge, this information from home, can strengthen connections between the classroom and home, which strengthens learning and also builds some real world application as well. What are some strategies to build partnerships and engage families? Strong school-family partnerships are super important. They are vital. So hosting events like bilingual science fairs where students and families can showcase their knowledge to families, and families can bring in cultural knowledge and connect with the curriculum. So it's a give and take on both ends. Providing newsletters or resources in multiple languages that can explain what students are learning in the class, and also letting parents know how they can support them at home in that newsletter. We can also enlist projects that encourage family participation. For example, assigning a collaborative task where students have to interview a family member. I use this in my genetics unit. Also, bringing in cultural assets from home into the classroom while involving families in ways that are meaningful. And this makes learning extremely relative. Finally, we always want to create just a two-way connection, just a simple email or call, and making sure to provide that translator if necessary, or an email in the language, the native language of our English learner student. So finally, honoring cultural and linguistic differences of our English learners, capitalize on their assets, their linguistic assets, and we can create an environment of learning that is successful, meaningful, where a student is seen, where a student enjoys learning, and a student can grow and learn successfully in our learning environments. Thank you.